Yo, what's going on, guys? It's G-Miners here. I haven't really messed with too many grenade builds for Warlock since ARC 3.0 came out, and with Solar 3.0, Starfire Protocol was always just a must-use with fusion nades, so needless to say, I haven't really touched VERITY'S for a build in a while. So today, we have a full ARC 3.0 grenade spam build that completely revolves around the regen and then the bonus damage from VERITY'S. Just as a first look, VERITY'S Brow is going to give us increased grenade regen and grenade damage by getting kills with a weapon that match our subclass type. So for us, that's going to be ARC kills with this build, and these benefits are going to stack up to 5 times. I'm going to be going over exactly how high the regen and the damage stacks a bit later on in the build, and then we are also going to be pairing this with a brand new ARC primary with the perk Volt Shot. This is going to heavily synergize with the build, and then we are also going to be getting a bunch of regen through our mods and through ionic traces in our subclass. So let's start by going over our full ARC 3.0 layout first. Starting off with our super, we're going to be on Chaos Reach here. Our ad clear is going to be pretty crazy with the build overall, so I figured having a DPS based super for bosses would be a good addition. And then we're also going to be on Healing Rift. As you will see later in the build, our rifts are going to come into play a ton, and we're not always going to be benefiting from Empowering Rift because of some of the additional mods we have, so Healing Rift is going to be the play. And then for our melee, run whatever works best for you. Chain Lightning is going to be good for close encounters, and then Ball Lightning is going to have a lot more range. Since this is a grenade build, the nade you choose is going to heavily impact how strong the build feels. I've been messing around with pulse nades a lot more recently, and these feel amazing, especially if you're looking for higher damage on Warlocks. But storm nades are also extremely strong and have more ad clear potential in my opinion, so those are the 2 options that I would recommend. Moving along to our aspects, first up we have Electrostatic Mind. This is going to allow all of our abilities to generate ionic traces. So every nade, melee, and even Arc Souls will be able to generate these, which will give us back 12.5% energy to our nades and melee each time we grab one, and then 15% to our rift. On top of this, killing jolted enemies or blinded enemies is also going to create ionic traces, and then grabbing these will also make us amplified. Second to this is going to be the Aspect Arc Soul. By placing our rifts down, as I mentioned, we're going to be able to spawn in an Arc Buddy that shoots enemies with us automatically. All allies will also have access to Arc Souls by just walking into our rifts, and while amplified, these Arc Souls are going to be shooting much more frequently. With this build, we're going to be spawning in ionic traces non-stop, so Electrostatic Mind will keep us amplified at all times, which means we will always have the enhanced version of the Arc Soul, which is nuts. There are honestly points where I can't get kills with my primary because the Arc Soul is just constantly aimbotting ads. This combination of aspects gives us 4 fragment slots that we can play with. First up, we're going to be running Spark of Shock. This allows our grenades to now jolt enemies. If you recall back, Electrostatic Mind, which was our first aspect, makes ability kills and kills on jolted enemies spawn in ionic traces. So if we manage to get a kill with a grenade, this is now, since it jolts, going to spawn 2 traces in. So not only does this fragment make our grenade stronger, but it also essentially doubles the regen that we get back on kill. Spark of Magnitude is going to be another fragment that we are running with this build. This gives lingering grenades a longer duration overall, which is another reason that I recommend Storm or Pulse grenades. This does also extend lightning grenade duration, but those tend to be harder to use in PvE. So once again, Storm or Pulse nades are the play. Spark of Discharge is our 3rd fragment. This is also going to allow us to create ionic traces just by getting arc weapon kills. This is also going to stack on top of the other fragments and aspects we are running. So now we are going to pretty constantly be creating 2 ionic traces per kill, whether this is an ability kill or just a weapon kill. So managing to have an Arc Soul or ability out while also getting jolted kills with our weapons will be spawning these in constantly. And then last up, because this is more of an in-your-face type build, we are running Spark of Resistance. This is just an additional 25% damage reduction whenever we're near enemies, so this will just help keep us alive more often. I did also briefly mention that we are using a primary with the Volt Shot perk. I believe this only rolls on arc weapons, so as long as you have one with this perk, you're going to be able to constantly synergize this with the build. Volt Shot kind of works like Kill Clip does. Reloading after a kill with the weapon is going to make the next enemy we hit become jolted. So the reason this is going to be insane is because we are able to once again spawn double ionic traces on weapon kills. First is from Spark of Discharge, and then the second one is from Electrostatic Mind. To spawn these more frequently, you also want to make sure you are constantly getting ability kills. The best way to do this is then with spamming rifts to make sure that your Arc Souls are always up. As I mentioned in the intro, Arc Souls are going to pop the hell off. This will get way more kills on their own than you can with the primary, and will constantly be spawning Ionic Traces. And then because we do have Verity's on and are spamming nades, our nades will also spawn double Ionic Traces because they jolt enemies and they're also an ability. Looking at Verity's Brow again, each time that we do get a kill, we get 1 stack of Death Throws. This is going to last 11 seconds and refresh on new stacks. And for each stack we get, we gain an additional 50% increased grenade regen and 20% increased grenade damage. This means our nades will hit for double damage in total at 5 stacks, along with getting 250% increased regen. And then by spamming nades, we're also going to be giving teammates increased regen too. Looking at the mods that we are running with this build, first up is going to be Explosive Wellmaker. This is going to spawn in solar elemental wells when we get explosive kills. Even though our grenades are arc, this does still count as an explosion. We also have on Well of Life with the build, so solar elemental wells that we pick up are now going to heal us over time. Other than standing in rifts, the survivability isn't great on the build, so constantly healing helps us out a bunch. And then after that, I have on Taking Charge so that I can get charged with light by grabbing Orbs of Power. And then to use this, I have on High Energy Fire. This is going to be a 20% increase to weapon damage and consumes 1 stack per kill we get, but the orbs we spawn in will constantly keep this up. This is going to be the main reason that I opted not to run Empowering Rifts. I am also running the mod Lightning Strikes Twice. This is going to give us 150% more increased grenade regen, and since we are getting arc kills, this bonus regen should last infinitely. And then lastly, on my helmet, I have on Harmonic Siphon to create Orbs of Power on Arc Weapon Final Blows, because this does synergize with my subclass. And then I also have Ashes to Assets for some increased super energy on Grenade Kill. I was really kind of struggling to make some good Arc 3.0 builds, and then I remembered that Verity's existed. I think it pairs perfectly with the Ionic Traces, allowing us to get our nades back that much quicker. The extra damage is also insane for taking out tankier enemies. This and Fallen Sunstar are going to be my new go-to exotics on Arc 3.0 Warlocks. Overall, I do kind of feel like Arc 3.0 has some really solid options, but in each subclass, there are pretty obvious options and a lot less diverse build crafting overall. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree, and if you do have any build suggestions that you want me to try out, make sure to comment that below too. Anyways, that's all for this video, guys. As always, have a good one. Peace.